You know.
Mm-hmm.
I told my brother, hey, I saw Nas. I was hanging out with Nas the other day. He's like, oh, okay, cool.
Oh.
He didn't give a shit. You know, he didn't care at all. Like, oh, okay, whatever. You know, people don't really care about stuff like that as much as, you know, as much as we think, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you one thing that it happened to me talking about famous people. It was last June, and I was checking my DMs on Instagram, and I saw this account reached out to me and said some very kind, flattering things, and it was Little Tunchi, and I was like, "Oh shit, who is this?" I had no idea who it was, and it had a little check mark next to it, so I knew they were verified. So I was like, "Oh, well, let me see. Is this like really an important person, or is this somebody that got verified so they wanted to feel important?" You know?
Yeah.
So I went on there and I looked it up, and it was Lil Wayne, and I was like, 18 million followers. I was like, oh shit. I was like, did he really just DM me? And so I DM'd back, and I was like, wow, thank you. And he spelled my name correctly, which is always a very endearing thing for me because a lot of people don't. And then I was like, is this really you? Because I figured it was like some 22, 25-year-old.
Yeah. A lot of trolls online.
You know, I didn't think it was actually him. And he's like, no, it's me. And we kind of went back and forth a little bit. And I was like, I'm not buying it. And he sent me his number. He said, call me. And it was kind of late. And so I wasn't going to call that late. So I waited the next day. And I called, and it went to like voicemail or some funky recording or whatever. And so I texted the number, and I said, haha, see, I told you it wasn't you. It just went to voicemail. I was like, quit playing. And then I hung up and called Barbie, and I was like, Barbie, it wasn't him. It went to voicemail. And she was like, girl. And as I was talking to her, I got a FaceTime request from that number. It was coming in. And I was like, oh shit, they're FaceTiming me. Hold on a second. Let me go see who it is. And I hit it. And there's Lil Wayne, face tats and dreads and everything. And I was like, oh shit. Thank God I had like done my hair and gotten ready. I mean, I was ready for work. I didn't just do that. But anyway, and it was him. And we were chatting, and he was doing something with his son. And he was like, look, I can't really talk right now. He's like, I just wanted you to know, look, girl, it's me. And I was like, okay, I believe you now. So
is he cool?
Oh my God, he's amazing. He's a very special person. And the parts of him that I saw, like his image or whatever,
I just made it up.
I've never listened to rap music. I don't really listen to a lot of music in general. And I couldn't even have told you like the name of one of his songs or a record. Like I knew of him just because he's so famous, but I've never like been a fan. Yeah. And so I really didn't have a lot of preconceived notions other than just the stereotypes of rappers, right? And he was the antithesis of every stereotype. He was incredibly kind and humble and poetic and complimentary and attentive. And I mean, I just love him to death. I do.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff is just an image. That's most of the people. They're not really like that in real life.
You know? I mean, he's a very special human being and incredibly talented, and his rap game's pretty good.
Oh, that's good. Because some of these guys are not. Yeah, they're that good. Yeah,
they're smooth. He's smooth. I'll tell you that. He's real smooth.
That's good. You know, the funny thing, I met a lot of like celebrities when I was young.
Okay.
Like 17, 18, 19 years old. That was so naive. This is when I first got my license.
Yeah.
And I used to sneak away in my mom's car and go to parties and clubs. And I always knew somebody that could get me in.
Yeah.
And I used to like go to my cousin's college, like Francis Marion in Florence. I used to go there on the weekends and visit. I used to sneak there. And my mom never knew about it.
She does now.
Well, rest in peace to her. She's gone now. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I used to sneak the Francis Mary, and they used to have a lot of parties back in the day in Florence. And that's how I got to meet a lot of these rappers and singers and entertainers like that. And I realized there was a guy that cousin went to college with, and he knew all these guys. This is how I got to meet them at the hotel after the show and everything. And I realized these guys just found the way to make a lot of money doing what they love to do. That's basically it, you know. And like most of the stuff that you know, the interviews and stuff like that, they hate it. They don't like that. They hate it. They don't like. They say, "Look, I just want to make music. I love my fans, but I don't like all the drama and the dealing with the promoters and the managers." You know, that's the part that they don't like.
Yeah, absolutely. I can understand that.
Yeah, you know. So like after, okay, so when you came home, you know, did you go back to work or did you?
Yeah. I still had like another week off from work, and so I went ahead and took that time, and then then I went back to work and resumed my life as if nothing had happened.
Yeah, because I always wanted to. Did other opportunities come your way, or you know, no?
Not for me. That's not something I've necessarily made myself available to. Yeah. The one good thing, well, not the one, but one of the best things that came out of it is I came back with a sheer determination to get in shape and lose weight and look better. So, because, you know, some of the other women on the show were my age or around my age or maybe even older, and they looked fantastic. Their bodies look like the bodies of like women half their age. And I'm looking at my body and I'm like, you know, shit, if they can do it, I can do it. You know, so I ended up, I got with a trainer. I started lifting weights 3 days a week. I lost 25, 30 pounds. I had some cosmetic surgery. I had a mini tummy tuck and a lower bleph that took the fat pads out of my eyes. And I was like, woo-hoo. And I probably that following March, in my opinion, I looked the best I've really ever looked in my life. So that was, and I felt the best that I've ever felt. So it was, from that perspective, it was a positive. I mean, there are other positives, obviously, that have come out of it, and things that I value and appreciate. And I'm sure there are things that are still yet to come. But that was one thing for me, because I've always struggled with self-esteem and, you know, issues like that, like feeling worthy and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So working on myself and investing that kind of time in myself really kind of changed who I am.
Okay. So you don't have any regrets? You would do it over again?
For sure. I have no regrets over the things I do. Even the stupid shit I do, I value because I learn a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. I make a lot of mistakes, but I've got a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, that's why I always say, you know, you just learn from everything, good or bad or whatever. That's how I am anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I relate to that for sure.
Yeah. So I guess being on the show, have you found that it kind of was an advantage? Is there an advantage being on that show? I guess if you apply that to your life now, or you know, to the future, you think you're gonna have an advantage because you're telling people, "Hey, I used to be on the reality show, blah blah blah, this and that." What are people kind of? What's people's response? Do their eyes open wide, like, "Oh, really?" You know, that's.
They're like, "What?" And then I tell them the name of the show, and if it's a guy, they're usually like, "Okay, I can see it. You're a MILF," and I'm like, "Oh Jesus." Oh shit! You know, the women are like, "Lannette, no, you didn't." I was like, "Yes, I did. Shit, why not? I do crazy shit all the time. This is totally like in step with something I would do." I mean, I have family members that no longer speak to me because I'm too dramatic. So I said, "Fuck it, I'm drama. Let's go where drama is celebrated. Let's go on a reality show." So
yeah, so what did your friends and family think after they watched the show?
Oh, everybody was supportive. To be honest, and those that weren't didn't convey it, and I didn't really want to hear it anyway, so I didn't give a shit, you know. So I kept it very positive. They kept it very positive, and I think one of the real silver linings out of the show, and one of the reasons why I think that opportunity presented itself. And the reason I had my meltdown, I don't know if you saw that scene, but
No.
the night that I left, it was a very emotional moment for me, because seeing the guy that I liked, that I really thought was being truthful and honest with me, seeing him with another woman, leaning over the bed, telling her, I'm going to bring you into the realty room, where he had just brought me a couple nights before. It stirred up a lot of things from my past. And so I just melted, and I just was like, you know, I'm unlovable. No one's going to love me. I'm not worthy. I'm not enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not successful. You know, I went through this whole thing where it was all about me and my failures. Yeah. And it struck a chord. And, you know, and I basically said that, like, I've already grieved the death of, you know, me having relationships like that, like a love relationship. Like I'm just not cut from that cloth. I just don't, I'm a lot. And so I don't ever see really any man being able to step up to the plate and deal with me. And so I'm okay being by myself. I mean, trust me, I'm alone, but I don't get lonely, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I think the silver lining there is that I exposed that part of me, and a lot of people identified with it, and it resonated with so many women and so many men. More women than men have reached out to me, and I've gotten hundreds, if not thousands, of DMs from people saying, oh God, that broke my heart. I'm so sorry for you, but oh my God, my picker's broken too. Something's wrong with me. I'll never find anybody to love me. And, you know, and it really obviously hit a nerve with a lot of people, and they could relate. And I thought,